Counting DBE participation. The next slides I'm going to cover provide information on how to count DBE participation on a project. Counting participation for gold credit depends on the type of work the DBE is going to be performing on that specific project. Subcontractors get 100%, and so do manufacturers. Regular dealers or suppliers get 60% credit. Trucking firms or haulers, well, it varies. Brokers, distributors, manufacturers representatives, they get credit on their fees and commissions. However, the fees and commissions must be reasonable. If a DBE participates as a joint venture, that credit will vary. In the next slides, I'm going to expand on these types of gold credit. DBE subcontractor. A DBE subcontractor performs specific work items with its own forces pursuant to a contract agreement with a prime contractor. A DBE subcontractor must perform at least 30% of the work. It furnishes and installs, and therefore we count 100% of the prime contractor's payment to DBE toward contract goal, to include labor and materials. Trucking firm and hauling. DBEs must own and operate at least one truck. That truck must be licensed, insured, and operational on the contract. The trucking firm, or the DBE rather, must manage and supervise the entire portion of the work it is committed to perform and use at least one of its own trucks. Now, if a DBE trucking firm is going to outsource to a non-DBE, there is limited DBE credit for the non-DBE trucks, but it cannot exceed the value of transportation services provided by the primary DBE trucking firm. I would like to mention that the Local Government Compliance and Monitoring Guide provides other ways in which a DBE can get gold credit for trucking. This is a very simplified slide, so I recommend that you refer to the Compliance and Monitoring Guide on other ways to obtain credit for trucking firms. Manufacturer. A prime purchases materials from a DBE manufacturer. The DBE operates a factory that produces materials on the premises to meet the contract specifications, or it takes the product and alters it to meet the contract specs. In this case, we count 100% gold credit. DBE regular dealer. A prime contracts with a regular dealer to supply and deliver products. A regular dealer operates a store or warehouse that contains products it sells to the public. A regular dealer in bulk items such as petroleum, steel, cement, gravel, stone, or asphalt, without owning, operating, or maintaining a place of business. For bulk items, the DBE must own and operate distribution equipment. We count 60% credit if the DBE is performing as a regular dealer and doing so on a contract-by-contract basis. So the one thing that I'd like to bring to your attention is there are two ways to get the 60% credit. In the second bullet, I mentioned that if the DBE owns or operates a store and sells products to sell to the public. But if a DBE does not own the warehouse, again, it can get the 60% credit if it is serving in a distribution capacity. But the key word is bulk items, the petroleum, steel, cement. Okay. And what I want to emphasize to local governments is when you review the DBE Material Supplier Commitment Form, there are questions on the commitment form that you must analyze to determine if the DBE will actually be performing as a regular dealer. So do not assume that just because a commitment comes in on the material supplier form that it's an automatic 60%. It isn't. This is determined on a contract by contract basis. I also recommend that you go to the compliance and monitoring guide and see the examples that we have provided to determine the 60% gold credit. Broker, distributor, manufacturer's representative. This is when a prime hires a DBE to facilitate the procurement of materials and supplies. In this case, we count gold credit for the fees and commissions. One thing I want to bring to your attention is that sometimes we'll see prime contractors and even DBEs getting gold credit confused between regular dealer and brokers. So it's really important that you obtain as much information before you make that determination whether there's 60% credit or only credit for the fees and commissions if they're serving in a broker capacity. Joint venture. A joint venture is an association of a DBE firm and one or more other firms to carry out a single for-profit business enterprise. The local government will count a portion of the total dollar value of the contract equal to the distinct, clearly defined portion of the work of the contract that the DBE performs with its own forces toward the DBE goal. We don't see a lot of DBEs that participate as a joint venture, but I want to make sure that you understand that just because a DBE participates in a joint venture with a non-DBE prime contractor, that is not a 50-50 split. You have to be able to look at, again, the clearly defined portion of the work that the DBE will be performing with its own resources. Okay. Next, Mary is going to cover commercially useful function.